In this video, we are looking at this BBC micro. It was brought from eBay as untested. Let's just get on with it. And we can see that the power lead has been cut off and we are missing two keys, which is the P and the at key. So I haven't done anything with this just yet, but I've been buying various parts. So we have the switches for the keyboard, and I believe I've brought the right parts. There are various types of keyboards on these. I think this is the cheaper one, and then I've managed to find the keys for the keyboard, and you have to match the type up. So depending on the type of the switch and the angle of that part as well, you have to get the key to match. And I was pointed to a website, cjemicros.co.uk, and they have loads of parts for BBC micros, including keycaps. And you go on there and they have pictures of all the different types of keycaps and key switches that you will need, and that allows you to pick the keys that you want. And then I just placed my order and said that I want the at key and the P key. At the same time, I brought replacement feet because it's missing one foot, and I brought a used user guide. So cjemicros.co.uk. Really helpful. Highly recommended if you're working on anything BBC related. The next thing that I brought was a cap kit, a full cap kit from Retro Clinic, and they include full instructions. So this is the first thing that we're probably going to be doing on this, is rebuilding the power supply. There's no way I'm going to switch that thing on without replacing those Rifa caps. Then I looked at the leads. So I've got a tape lead from Retro Computer Shack, and we also have a SCART lead that was also from CJE Micros, but I brought that via eBay rather than from their shop direct. And then the last thing that I brought was this little kit, which allows us to plug SD cards into the floppy drive port. So this was just brought from eBay, and it's listed as BBC Model B type solid state drive SD. So it comes with a BIOS and then this card that plugs into the floppy drive port on the bottom. We won't be doing this until we've got everything working. Now I've had a quick look inside and it's not too bad. It's got a few marks on it. Here we can see the screws that I took out. So looking inside, it's not too bad. It's not too dirty. I couldn't see like any immediate issues that jump out to me. So I think step one is to get the power supply out, do the cap kit, and then put a new power lead onto that, and then we can test the power supply separately from the BBC. Okay, keyboard off. We can put that to one side for the moment. So this is an issue 4. This is not a guide in any way. This is me figuring things out as I go, researching on the internet, and basically just sharing with you me getting this thing working. VCC are labelled up for the positive. So as long as I remember that, we should be okay. What is this? Yep. So screwed in from the bottom. So hopefully this now will just lift off. Okay, let's put that to one side. I'm just going to get my anti-static mat. So we have our power supply, we have our instructions, and we have our cap kit. So if we follow this instruction sheet through, step number 1, remove the 2 earth tab bonding nuts and screws, taking care not to lose the star washers. And we do not want to lose the washers. So where's the other? So is it just that one? It says to remove the 2. Okay, remove the 3 fixing screws that hold the main PCB to the case. So there's one just there. And then there is one down there. Remove the power switch. There will probably be a cable tie holding the 2 wires to one of the tanks. Carefully cut this. So that will be that just there. And then we've got the connections going to the back of the power switch. Brown, blue, red, black. So that's the way that those connections are on the switch. Okay, they're not easy to get off. The bottom ones are easier. So it says to remove the switch completely. So there's like retention clips on the top and the bottom of the switch. I'm making the right mess of this, aren't I? Can I lever that out now? There we go. Right, that's the power switch out. Press the auxiliary power connector out by bending the tabs on the outside towards the connector housing. I'm guessing we need to cut that tire up just there. Let's see if we can get the grommet out of the way. So I'm just pushing the tab on the grommet down. Alright, so that's the grommet pushed through. Let's get these connectors back through. So now will this slide out? Right, that one is a bit looser now. Ah, it's that one as well. That's the other one. I didn't see that. So that's the second earth bonding point. Now will you come out? Yeah. Okay. So now the power supply is out. So remove the capacitors so it looks as it does in figure 2. That one, 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 and that one. So there's the Rifa caps. So I'm going to put some fresh solder on first. Those Rifa caps definitely haven't been changed. The solder's original. Here we have the trusty Dura tool. So I've got into the habit of just cleaning this, stop any blockages, pretty much after every go. Looks like we just need to just get a bit more solder on and just straighten those legs up. That one's been a little bit more stubborn. Okay, there's one, two, I think we'll just clean those up while we're at it. When we've taken them all out, I'll go over and clean up any flux. Okay, so that one. All sorts of bent over legs and whatnot. So the two pads that I just took off, then because I was wiggling the cap, it started to lift the pads off the PCB. So we need to be, I think we need to be extra careful. So I might leave the legs longer on that one and fold it over and solder it straight onto there, as soon as the pads come up a little bit. Right, so that's those three. Now we've got this section over here. So that's the caps out. Now we can put the new caps in. So C1. C2, and these are not polarized, so we don't have to worry about that at the moment. Okay. So now we do need to look at the correct polarity, and we want C9, which is 220 microfarad, 35 volt, and we can see on the board that there is a plus, so the long leg goes in the plus, and this is our cap where we potentially might have lifted the tracks. So I'm going to solder that longer leg all the way over to the other pad. So I'm going to use the legs to support the tracks. Which is potentially why the legs were longer in the first place. That joint there looks dry. I'm going to just touch that up. We'll probably have to go over the whole thing and look for bad joints. Okay, so now C6 and C8, 100 microfarad, 250. So again, we have our longer leg going to the positive. Alright, so we're on to the back page now. Output capacitors, C18 and 21, 220, 35. So see 18. And then 21 is down in the corner. It says, the astute amongst you may notice that the originals of these were 100 microfarad. That's fine. We're using higher values here to add extra smoothing to the minus 5 volt line. 16, 19 and 20 with 1000 microfarad. So 1000 microfarad, 25 volt. That is 16. Oops. Nearly got that one wrong. 19. 20. And then the last one is cap 17, which is the 2200. So we've now replaced all of our caps. We just compare this section with the picture. So all of the bands for the capacitors are in the right direction, and it actually says you're done with capacitors, but before you assemble, check and if necessary reflow solder joints around the 3 transformers. So I'm just going to have a quick look for anything that looks like it has some kind of crack or ring around the solder joint. Okay, that all looks good. So the last thing I'm going to do is give it a quick scrub with my flux removing cleaner. That is our recapped power supply. So now I'm going to have a quick look on the top for any signs of any resistors that don't look happy. Everything else looks okay. And let's check this fuse as well. So our fuse is okay. Let's put this back in. Try and move that earth tag out of the way. And then we want to get that roughly in the right place. Go, there's our auxiliary connector back in. We then have the power switch. So I think I'll just put some deoxit in the back. So this just like some little gaps. So just put some, get inside the switch, quickly clean up the contacts on the back. And then we can put our switch back in. And then we have our connections on the bottom. And it was red, black. Then we have our 3 screws to hold the PCB down. Okie dokie. And then our earth bonding screws with the star washers. So that's the back one. It's the front one, but I need to... So here's a question, is that supposed to attach to anything? Right, I just put out a tweet to people that know more than me if that is supposed to be attached to anything on that side. So let's do the new power lead. And then I got some cable clasps from RS Components. And they fit, that's good. And I bought them for 5mm cable. And I also brought 5mm 3-core flex. So that should hold it in nice. Have a couple of crimp rings that I can try. So let's just get this cable through. So that looks about right. And I brought red and blue insulated crimps. They're rated for different amps, but it won't be a problem because we're not going to go over 5 amps on these. I just wanted the ones that were insulated. Yep. So just make sure they fit. Okay. Alive and neutral. So there are our 3 new wires for this new mains leadlet. Okay, and then it's this one back on here. Okay, so now it's just getting the grommet on. So I'm just going to squeeze that on. So that's on and it's not coming out. Okay, that's good. So we've now got our new mains lead on the power supply. The always helpful Retro Man Cave has sent me some pictures, and it looks like that this earth tab should be connected to this cover of the transformer. I'm wondering if on this one it was just like pushed underneath the cover, but I'm going to try to solder that on. That was how his was looking. So we'll just let that cool down. I don't know if that will stay on that copper. So that's on there, fairly sturdy. I feel happier now that that's attached. I think we're in a position where we can actually try switching it on. So I'm just going to get tidied up a little bit and we'll give it a go. Okay, I don't think I can delay this any longer. We've checked everything. I checked continuity between this earth and the inside of this, which must be acting as an RF shield on the transformer. So that is actually connected to the chassis earth. I plugged into my RCD so that we can switch it on, and if there's any problems it will trip. I'm going to switch, so it's switched off at the RCD, switched on at the socket, and the first thing I'm going to do is just turn it on and just hope that nothing happens. Alright, so my microphone died and I'm having to overdub this, and I switched it on and it was okay, nothing went bang, and then we proceed to test the power. So we have 5 volt, and then we go on to test the auxiliary port so that we've got access to the 12 volt and the minus 5 volt. So we can see that the 12 volt is okay. We can see that the minus 5 volt is okay. So I think it's time really to put this power supply into the BBC and try turning it on. So we can see that I'm plugging in the RGB lead, making sure that it's switched off on the power switch, plugging it into the extension, and we switch it on. I think the power switch was a bit stiff and it worked loose over time. So there we go, we switched it on and all we get is language ? Switched it off. Still struggling with the power switch there. This loads better now. Switch it back on, language. And that's as far as we get. And I'm calling it for this part of the video, and we will continue in the next part.